Hey, it's Tony Ann.
I'm Akira.
And I'm Sammy, and you're listening to the Pocket Podcast.
So, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Pocket Podcast. Today we have two special guests. We have Felicia, say hi, and we
Hi.
have Mystique with us
Hi,
today.
everyone. Hello.
Hi. We are going to go ahead and get right into our topic for today, which is things that we wished we knew before we became adults. So I'd like to go ahead and start off the floor with the first one, which is talking about how hard it is to get a job right out of college. When I actually got my degree in English education, I thought, oh, okay, I've got a bachelor's degree. Someone's going to want me. It's going to be super easy. Great. That couldn't have been further from the truth. So it took me a while before I got my actual, my foot in my career that I majored in. So I did a whole bunch of preschools and things, and some unfavorable jobs before I reached where I wanted to be. So is that something that you guys would agree with? Yay, nay?
Most definitely. Because, okay, I know for me, when I started out, after high school, because I was dual enrolled, I just decided I'm not doing nursing. I remember I sat down at the table with my mom. I'll never forget this conversation. She sat down with me and said, Mystique, what do you want to do? And I told her I really want to major in education. And she said, you sure you don't want to do nursing or anything in the medical field? I said, nope, I hate blood. I said, I don't want to see any bodily fluids, none of that. It's disgusting. Yeah, that's why I decided I wanted to do my 2-year degree in early childhood education. And I loved it. I did volunteering, tried different things because I couldn't, of course, get a job as of yet. Never knew that you can, if you work at a daycare, they can hire you without having a degree or the license, but you have to have all that certifications within 3 months. So I'm like, oh, wow, if I had known that, I wish I had started earlier, but you live and learn. So yeah, my first serious teaching job was actually at the hospital with their daycare. I started at with their potty training room because when I first started teaching, when I did volunteer, was an intern, I started out in the potty training room. And let me tell you, it's not for the weak.
I'm dealing with that now, yeah.
Yeah, it is not for the weak. And that type of classroom, those type of classrooms have the most children in it because they're 2-year-olds. So especially during the summer, oh my goodness, they have the most kids. I'll never forget one lady came in, she wanted to be a teacher. She started out. When she heard how much students were there, she walked out on us.
Oh, wow.
Legit walked out. She said, how many kids are in here? We told her. She said, okay, I'll be right back. My director came back and said, she just said she quit. And now we're stuck without a third teacher.
That's crazy.
And you're potty training half of the classroom. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
So that was your enlightening moment where I'm like, maybe education is not for me. Is that?
Well, my enlightening moment came. Don't get me wrong, I love the kids. I did VPK, taught VPK for 2 years. Loved it. It was my favorite thing to do. I hated lesson plans. That's the least favorite part. It's the lesson plans. That's why with nursing, I'm care plans. I'm dreading it. But yeah, it was so much fun. Teaching, it's fun. Helping them learn new things. It is so much fun, and they have the best personalities. Yeah, and then after these kids threw up on me, they kicked me, spit on me. I'm like, you know what? I've seen all the bodily fluids that I claimed I will never see a day in life.
I'm ready for nursing. Right?
I called, and I'll never forget this day. I came home because at the daycare, because we were so understaffed, I worked 10-hour days every single day, 10-hour days. And I remember I called my mom and I said, Mom, I think I'm going to get into nursing. I did not think when I became a teacher, I was going to see all bodily fluids. I didn't think these kids were going to spit on me, pee on me, everything, because I was so young.
Oh, they were.
I would say, honestly, what you just said, what both of you guys just said it's
Well, my thing is, you grow up the way they taught you, and I don't know if it's Caribbean household or whatever. Go to school, go to college, do it that way. Make sure you get a job. It could not be anywhere further from the truth. So I'm not saying it wasn't good. Like, that's not a good like baseline to kind of have your, like a little plan for your life. But I was so pounded with it in my head growing up that I thought that's just how it was going to be. I was going to get, as soon as I got a degree, boom, I got a job.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that is the most hardest thing that I've ever dealt with in my young adult life. Like, I went to school for advertising, PR, marketing. And I had a great internship with one of the top PR firms, downtown internship, thinking that I'm just it. And I got this internship so easy. And then there was another internship that I got just like, I felt like it was really good. It was in the travel industry. Got it. And then I'm thinking, I got these under my belt. I'm good. When I got out of college, I had the hardest time finding anything anywhere. I went to interview after interview after interview, thinking that these interviews were good, just to get an email a day or two later telling me, we went with the next candidate or something. And I've never cried so hard, so much in my life. And it's just, like I said, I just thought that, I was not going to have this problem coming out of school. So honestly, when I think what advice that I would tell like younger, kids, or even my kids growing up, is just like, honestly, just you don't have to do that route. You don't have to. I'm not saying that it's not good to have an education, but if you get a trade, if you get something, or like, something else out there that you're just learning to pick up, it doesn't have to be college. It doesn't have to be you're making, good money or whatever. Just get something. And you're, people out there who did not go to college and things like that, they're making, a lot more money and things like that. So that's how I feel about that.
And I have to agree with what you're saying, Philly, because with my boyfriend, I said to him, I remember we had this conversation. He said, would you pressure your kids to go to college? Or not pressure, but would you encourage them? I said, no. If my kid said to me after high school, I don't want to do college that first year, I would not be mad. Because like you just said, I don't know if it's the Caribbean household thing where, go to college, get a good job, and all those things.
Do it in that order, yeah.
Yes. And I would say if my child said to me, I don't want to go to college that first year, or even Beckham, if he said that to me or to Akira, I would, would say, you don't have to, honey. I said, just find a nice job, find something that you think you'll like. And if you want to major in that,
learn a trade, yeah.
Learn a trade, yes.
Military is a good option as well.
It is.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be mad about it.
The other thing has to do, it's also something not only just by Caribbean parents, but also just by the education system in general. Once you're going through high school, they're like, okay, we're setting you up for college. Yep. When in reality, maybe
preschool.
Even in preschool.
Yes.
So like, they're like, okay, we're gonna put you on the track for those things, like vocational things, such as maybe being a plumber, or things that require hands-on training. They kind of shun away from those things, even though those are the things that could make you a lot of money.
A
lot of money. Yes, again.
So somebody always needs like air conditioner fixed or something, like you said, plumbing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes I feel like you have to weigh your options. Like if you come from a family that may not have a lot of resources, or if you don't want to get into debt with student loans, like do a phlebotomy class and be a phlebotomist, draw blood, make that little change, and then, work yourself up to the career that you want to. It doesn't always have to go straight off to college. And it's so, I wish I could tell myself, like, don't kill yourself out about college too much, don't stress it too much.
Totally agree. Another thing with me is that it's so funny. I feel like you need to keep your options open. Like, I was so dead set on when I finished school, I'm going to be working in a high-rise office somewhere downtown, being a public relations something. And I have not, to be honest with you, since I've graduated school, I have not made $1 off of what I went to school for. and you have to keep your options open. I started getting desperate at the end of it and just started applying any and everywhere that would take. Here I am 10 years later, and I'm a flight attendant. Like, I didn't go to school for that, and it's like, all that money that I put into school, it's like I didn't even end up doing what I went to school for. Now, do I still have a passion and one day I would like to go back to that? Yeah, but totally, it's, you got to keep your options open. You don't know where your career path could lead you at the end of the day. So
yeah, absolutely. And like a thing that I also noticed was like I had my degree in English education as well, but when you set your degree, try to see where else you can fit in. Don't try to be a little too niche with your degree, right?
Versatile.
So I don't know if that was necessarily my issue. If I just went to school for English, maybe I could have branched out into newspapers and other things like that. While teaching still could be something that I could do, right? But yeah, I think just any advice, please do not shy away from vocational. If you do not have the means to do it, you don't have to do it. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
Definitely keep your options open. Like, you don't be dead set on one tunnel path of what you think it's going to be, because you're going to build yourself up to be let down sometimes, so
it's disappointing sometimes.
Yeah.
And,
for sure.
And when it comes to also what they don't tell you is that employers, I mean, of course, we all hate seeing that email, oh, we decided to move on from your application. Seen it like dozens of times before. Just keep putting yourself out there, but also remember that networking is a thing. People don't tell you how to network. They don't tell you how important it is. A lot of people who I've come in contact with would say that some people got that position from networking. It's not because they were like super, super high skilled in anything. It's that they did like an internship, or they knew somebody and they're like, oh, he writes really well, or he or she's a very good employee, and they got them in. Right. That's how things work around here.
All about who you know, not what you know.
Yes. It's crazy that you mentioned that, because you know how you were saying in school they keep telling you, they push you, of course, to go to college, ever since, like you said, pre-K, they have you on a path. I'll never forget, I was in high school and this was a history teacher, and he was telling us, if we don't go to college, and you know what's so crazy, I never had a black male teacher until I went to high school. Same. I had black teachers, but never a black male teacher until my sophomore year, Mr. Wells. And he said that he was saying that it's great to go to college. He said, yes, get a degree, but he said network, because he said that's how you're going to get around. He said that's how you're going to get your jobs, or if you want to know what you want to major in school. Because he said he did the same thing with his son. His son didn't go to college the first year, and he was okay with that. But he did encourage him to network. Now his son is does like HR, like PR work and all that stuff now, like PR relations. And he said he just had his son network and just, figure that out on his own instead of him pressuring it.
Nice.
For sure, definitely.
And it also, well, this doesn't really tie in to the next point, but the next point that I did want to focus on was that you're going to have to change yourself a little bit. So what I mean by that is, in adult society, there are some ways that you're going to have to act around people in order to be liked and get to where you need to go in certain places. And so you have to fit into the status quo, right? So there's some things that I definitely don't agree with, right? But I have to keep my mouth shut in order for me to seem likable and to stay where I'm at. You know what I mean? Does that sound something like, I don't know if I'm making any sense here.
I agree with you on that, Tony, and I do to an extent. Like you said, I definitely do agree with you, because in some cases, like, if I don't agree with the topic that somebody is talking about, I just kind of keep my mouth shut with things. But like for me, I think there's like, I think it's 3 things that they say, you know, you shouldn't really talk about around like workplace or things like that. One of them being politics.
Yep.
They say religion, and I can't remember the last one, but definitely those 2 topics, I really just try to keep my own opinion on it.
And it's so funny you are mentioning that, because I was just talking to a coworker about this literally a few days ago. And yes, it's politics, religion, and what was the other one? Crap. Yes, it was like 3 of them.
Maybe.
I think it was like
because that's kind of like a touchy subject, but
yeah, those are all touchy. Because what, like last year, we all know what 2020. I thought 2020 was hella ghetto, and they ratchet up 2020, in my opinion. Yeah. And yeah, we were saying like with all the social injustices that were going on, I'll never forget when the George Floyd situation happened. If you heard how some of these nurses spoke, if they were not nurses, I would never speak to them a day in life, or we would have issues. It was sad to hear how they spoke about that situation.
Yeah, you definitely learn about people and their values, you know, definitely with things like that. And I'm the type of person, I just like to listen and take in and just, you know, kind of feel somebody out with that. But, you know, yeah, you definitely have to kind of, like you said, I don't know if you said it like conform is the word, Tony Ann, but it's just, you know, you definitely need to, there's certain things that you don't talk about with certain people, like family and friends, like you guys, like if I'm having a gathering or we're just sitting, you know, shooting the breeze or something, I would do that. But, you know, people in a professional setting, I definitely don't think, you know, maybe that's the time or place to be talking about subjects like that.
I agree.
I feel like sometimes I have to change the way how like I speak, how I navigate around certain people, because I don't want to offend anybody. Also, even like just how I fix my face, you know. It's true.
I talk with my face too, girl.
Like I can't like if I disagree with something, or if something like totally ticks me off, I cannot show it on my face, because then I'm going to be the one with the attitude. Which, I mean, that even brings us to even like stereotypes with Black women in general, and how no matter what we do, we're always angry, and it's very confusing.
Angry
to me.
Black woman.
Yeah. Don't mean to get all into the race theory, but it is an issue that we face every day. So I have to try to make myself feel very not feel, but be pleasing to others. So I have to be very mindful of how I'm acting, which can get tiresome.
Yeah, I agree. I worked at front desk at this place, and it was like every day I would be fine, completely fine. And it's like, as soon as, you know, another coworker, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Philly? I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm sorry. This is just how it is. And like you said, it's just tiring, because you're just, you know, trying to like keep this up, and it's just like, I'm fine. Can I just like, you know,
can I just sit here?
I felt that. Like, I have what they call the RBF.
Yes, that was just.
And I was gonna say, I have the RBF. And so I said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." What do you mean? What's wrong? When I was pregnant in my last trimester, I was always tired, so I didn't even care what happened.
Right.
The hormones were crazy. I was tired. I had heartburn every second. I'm like, I'm over this.
Right, but it's not like you're upset with anybody else. It's just,
no,
you know, you're fine. You're just, you know. So yeah, you definitely.
I also realized that in some places you have to swallow your pride, like so you know that it's not right for them to make assumptions, or for someone to say certain things, but it's like confrontation is really bad in the workspace, and it's very touchy. People don't like it, and then like oh, why'd you go to HR for this, and like all that jazz, right? So you have to navigate the world in a different way when you're an adult, because usually as a teenager, I'd say how I feel. Yeah, I don't like you, I don't like this, I don't like that, right? But no, that's not how things go. You gotta be an adult.
I agree with that, but I do feel like sometimes certain situations you do need to put your foot down. You can't like have someone like you don't have to be rude about it, but you can check somebody in a nice way. Like, let them know, like, no, you're not going to play that with me. I'm not the one to be trying to, I'm not the one. Just don't do it with me. And, you know, it's rude, but you're an adult and you speak to me with respect, and I'm going to speak to you with respect. You know, it doesn't mean that just because, you know, I might not be of the same status of you, or you might be a little bit, you know, in a different position or something over me. You know, it's just a way that I go about, just so you know that, so they don't keep trying you. You just let them know, like, okay, yeah, I hear you, but I'm not with the games.
And
don't play with me.
And that's the thing, because like when I was younger, I never used to speak up for myself or even, or, you know, defend myself. And now that I'm older, I'm like, wait, why should I let people run over me? Why should I let people take advantage of me? I'm like, I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I can defend myself. I had to tell someone one time, I didn't even think about it because I'm just going out of character. I'm like, go play patty cake with your mammy, because I'm not the one. I'm like, okay, patty cake with her. And I didn't know, because I was so into my feelings. One time when I was at work, it was funny. One of the nurses walked by. He said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine."
But yeah, I feel you, Tanya. But I think sometimes, like, you just gotta kind of put people in their place, just so they know, you know, not to walk all over you. Yeah, you don't want to be the confrontational person at work, but you do want to make sure that, you know, you don't pay my bills, so you're not just gonna deal with me anyhow at the end of the day. So
that is true. And like, don't think that the hierarchy doesn't exist in the workplace. It very much does. Are you kidding me? Like, there are things that certain people will get away with, and like, it's like I just can't explain this feeling, but I've had this before where, you know, if there's a boss, like, there's this weird air when everyone's all together, like say in a staff meeting or something, and everyone just like flips a switch. Like, it's completely, like, their personalities change, or like they're trying to I don't know how to put it into words, but like the atmosphere, you just feel, okay, this is a boss in the room, we all have to straighten up. And it's like, I feel like, am I back in, like, am I a child again? Like, I'm taking orders? Yeah, like, you know, so you're going to feel that it persists, you know.
No. You know what's so funny? I saw a meme on Facebook. It says, when the boss, like when you have like staff meetings and they said, we're more than a unit, we're a family. I'm like, yes. And you roll your eyes when they say it. I'm like, we a family. I almost want to say, I don't like these hoes. I can't stand them.
Oh my gosh. I mean, of course there's like people, of course, that I do enjoy, and like, you're right, you do have some people who you can consider friends, but also, like, this will go into another point that, you know, not everyone at work is your friend. No.
Don't trust them. Don't trust them, because they're laughing with you and they're joking with you, and they're going to the next person or even the boss and telling,
So drama still exists even in adulthood, guys. Don't.
Little catty, as far as like being in your 20s and stuff like that, one thing that I wish that, you know, somebody would have told me, I just felt like you had to, per se, keep up with the Joneses. So like, for instance, what I mean by that, like, I feel like there's still time. Back then I would feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. 20 is not old at all. Like there's so much in the whole of your 20s that you could do. Like, I mean, I feel like you see right now, social media is just a big, like, show that, you know, you think you got to keep up with this person and that person and this person of status. Like, oh my gosh, so-and-so has a house, or so-and-so has a car. And honestly, you have your whole, it doesn't matter. Like, people who are in their 30s, 40s onwards still don't even have some of these stuff, and you still have a whole, you know, life ahead of you. So I think, honestly, it's just like, you're not too old to start something new. You're not too old. You still have time. Your time hasn't passed yet. So like, I don't know, like, at that age, for me personally, I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm 23 or I'm 25. I'm too old to, you know, learn to do something. I want to learn how to play the saxophone. And I still, it's a dream of mine to still learn, like, to learn how to play. I'm 32, so I feel like I'm still gonna learn how to play saxophone one day, and I'm not too old to learn a new something. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, when you're trying to chase after what everyone else is doing, sometimes you don't know how to do it, or like you don't even know what people went through. And we were talking about this the other day. You don't know what people went through to get what they have, right? Mm-hmm. So when you see people have a house, where did that come from? Do they have a decent job? When they get these nice cars, maybe it's on a loan, or they're paying monthly payments that are totally crazy, right? So never watch what they're doing, because you don't know what it took to get those things. And if you're not willing or don't have the means to sacrifice and do all that stuff, don't put yourself my mom always told me this, and she's like, if you do not have to struggle, don't.
Yep.
So don't. Yeah, you don't have to get married at this certain time. You don't have to have a house at this certain time. Move at your own pace. That's fine.
It's definitely, it's not a race. What do they say? It's not a race, it's a marathon. So, definitely, go at your own pace. It's just at the end of you just finishing the race, So totally agree with that.
Like I feel like it was something that I'm like, I'll never fall into it, but it is very easy, especially when you're on social media, which is another thing. You don't really know how much social media affects you. It really does when it comes to like when you're seeing people go on these vacations, when you're seeing people have all these things, all these materialistic things, but you need to look at yourself and be like, I'm thankful for what I have. I'm thankful for where I am. Some people don't have anything. Some people are living lives that are not too great. Just you keep doing you. Don't watch what anyone else is doing. So one of the other points that I wanted to make was the fact that making friends as an adult, you never think about it, but it is so difficult. I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't know if it's just me, but I feel that like in high school, you're stuck with them for 8 hours of a day, so you're bound to make a friend. Like someone's going to talk to you, right? But you can't be antisocial or not, or keeping to yourself if you want to make friends as an adult. So you have to go out to these friend meetup groups, maybe make friends at work. Even doing small talk can even get you to find a friend. I'm not one for small talk, but maybe even through online dating, like there's Bumble, there's a friend section in Bumble as well. So like it's difficult to find friends. I don't know if it is for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a friendly person. I've always been likable and friendly. It wasn't until like my whole perspective of like what you just said, trying not to be antisocial or anything, was I'll never forget in middle school, someone said to me, I don't like you because you're too likable. I'm like, I'm too likable? And I was like, I'm like, that hurt my feelings. But now I'm thinking about, I'm like, a lot of these grown adults, I'm like, they're not likable. I'm like, we are too grown to be antisocial, or you can't, or if someone says good morning to you, can we at least say good morning back? I don't want to be your friend. I'm just saying good morning. Like,
yeah, I agree with you saying like it's definitely harder making friends as an adult. Honestly, my friends are the same friends that I had in high school. That's my core group. That's who I stick with. I have, a couple of friends that I've made outside of high school, but the main people that I still hang with and like that every day I talk to and everything. And, if I'm hanging out with somebody, it's really my girls from high school. And I honestly say, I think it's a blessing because, to be honest, they know the true me. They know we have years of friendship, and, not many people can say that, so I feel like they're like my true friends because they've been with me this long. They know, my ups and downs and my struggles, and they're still here. So, not to say that it's not, I can't make friends as, at my job or anything like that. But I definitely, I think it's really much easier back in the day. I mean, when you're younger.
It is.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like adult friendships never really get past a certain point. It's a constant effort. Like you're putting out a lot of effort for these adult friends, and they all have lives. They got children. They have other things that they have to go through. So
exactly. And you know what? It used to look cool to have a whole bunch of friends, but honestly, nowadays as I get older, the smaller my group is, it's fine. Like I don't mind having my little one clique, and they know the true me, and we just get together, and I don't have to learn a new personality or learn put, like you said, it's so much energy in trying to make a new friendship. Not saying that it's it's not good, but it's just like
starting out from square one, and I'm like,
exactly.
Hi, my name is like Tony Ann. Do you like this?
Okay. Right. Okay.
It's a lot of effort. Which it's not saying that I'm lazy, but these things are hard to latch on to when you're an adult.
Especially now, like you said, being an adult, when we all have our own different lives and we got things going on. It's kind of like, back in the day we were younger, we didn't have as much responsibility. Making friends were just, so much easier, But now you got to find time in between work, kids,
Absolutely.
other things. So for sure, definitely. Topic. If we were thinking, I was gonna say, I think your 20s, and this kind of goes back to the topic that you guys were talking about with dating and stuff like that. My opinion, I feel your 20s should be just about. You guys kind of said this in the last about dating and stuff. Like, I feel your 20s should be when you're just experimenting, exploring. Like, that's what you should take your 20s to do. Just kind of just learning who you really are and things like that. There's no need to like rush in anything. Like, you have your whole of your 20s. I think that you should find, just have fun. I'm not saying like you have to be out there doing this or doing all kind of craziness within reason. I just think like, people should just take their 20s to just try new things, learn new things, explore. I definitely enjoy traveling. I can't do it a little now because I have more responsibilities and a family and things like that. But definitely when I didn't have those responsibilities and I was a little more free up, traveling it was one of my passions. It still is. And, I just got to know things that I do like from what I don't like. So I definitely feel like 20s is the time to just really get to know yourself and learn about the world and you.
I agree. I remember when someone told me one time when I was, we were just talking, like having similar conversations like this. And I said I was 20, I think I was like 23 or 24. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're a baby. I'm like, I'm not a baby. They're like, when you think about it, they're like, they're like, how with toddlers, they say, oh, they're babies. And they're like, yes, you're like that toddler at 20. I'm like, oh. Like, you're still, they say you're just learning how to walk in life right now. I'm like, that is true. That is why now that I'm older, I can say this now. I was saying, I'm like, no 18-year-old can tell me what to do or how they do things. I said an 18-year-old don't even know they're supposed to wipe front to back yet. Okay. So please.
Well,
I'm like, y'all need to go to the OBGYN and figure out what y'all need to do.
No, it is so true when it comes to like when 18-year-olds, I think that they're adults. Like, I guess legally they are adults, but you go back to when you're 18. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, who was that? Like, I'm an adult. Right. Yeah, you can't tell me what to do. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. Have several seats. Thank you very much.
Exactly. I'm like, have several seats.
You didn't even know how to do your taxes yet. You don't know how to write a check. I didn't know.
I remember I told an 18-year-old, I'm like, the law don't even, I said the legal system don't even think you're legal either. So I'm like, please have several seats.
And it's like, Going back to your point, Felicia, kind of about like the what was it, the dating, right? And like thinking that you have to settle down. Maybe it's from like, since we come from a smaller city and like it's the South, so people tend to get settled down a little bit faster. I've never been that type of person. So I do think that yes, you should be dating and you should be trying to figure out like what is good for you, but of course do it like respectfully and like. But like, if you do find that person that does match you, don't be so quick to really like marry. Like you really need to give the time to get to know that person like fully, like 2-3 years, maybe even 4.
For sure.
As
long as it takes.
Do you guys have any other points at all?
Besides the fact that adulting is hard, that's all I've got to say. The bottom line of everything, adulting is for the birds.
Adulting can kick rocks, literally.
Yeah,
right. It can really kick rocks. It's ghetto.
Yeah, it is ghetto. Adulting is ghetto, but I mean, I guess we got to do it,
Yeah, you're just thrown into it whether you like it or not. And like, I just feel like I wouldn't say I never thought I was gonna get here, but I've always dreamed of being where I am now. And like, I still got places to be. I still got things to accomplish. So this is not it. This is not the end all be all. But it's hard. Bills, responsibility, waking up every morning, and you're like, what? Why am I doing this?
What do you guys think, like, at the end of the day? Is there something good we can say about adulting or being an adult? Like,
I feel this newfound independence. I feel,
yes,
I did it. Yeah, I did it. I was like, Duppy? Is there a Duppy in here?
Okay,
when you said the word independence, because that's what I think at the bottom line of it, being an adult is independence. That's what it is. You have the independence. I think that's the aha moment that your light went on. Independence. I think that's what it is. That's what you get from being an adult. And at the end of the day, after even with all the hard stuff to be independent, working, paying bills, having to struggle. At the end of the day, independence is like the sweetest thing, that you get from it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You could just, if you don't feel wanted or if you don't want to be anywhere, you can say no to it. You can leave, you can join, you can do whatever you want.
And you can be anything that you want to be. So there you guys have it. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode on the Pocket Podcast. Please leave a comment down below if you agree with some of our points. What are your thoughts? And also, what else do you want to see on the next episode? So, it's Tony Ann signing off.
Alicia.
And Mystique.
And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.